Welcome back.
The Harvest Jazz and Blues Festival is an annual staple in Fredericton. It brings people downtown and helps local acts gain exposure. Tom Hennifer was at the opening.
Fredericton's annual Harvest Jazz and Blues Festival kicked off last night with a performance by the St. Thomas Jazz Ensemble. The ensemble's director, Don Bosse, is thankful for the opportunity to play in front of a Harvest crowd.
Well, it's kind of a highlight for us because, number one, we get a great audience, people who love jazz, and they come here expecting to hear good music, and it just gives them an opportunity to showcase their talent in a great venue.
The Jazz Ensemble was created by Bosse 6 years ago. It's made up of students and professors from UNB and STU. Matt Robinson is a professor at STU and the ensemble's second trumpet player. He says Harvest gives the ensemble an opportunity it rarely has.
We just don't have venues that can accommodate this many people, and most of our venues are sit-down venues, so people aren't as encouraged to drink a beer and rock out. So that's the opportunity for me, is to play for a crowd that's partying, having a good time.
Harvest began 17 years ago. It runs from Thursday to Friday and draws artists and crowds from all over Canada and the United States. Its original purpose was to showcase only Atlantic Canadian talent. Although Harvest has grown beyond this focus, David Seabrook, the festival's communications director, says it is still helping local artists.
Yeah, it's a platform. You know, what Harvest really does in terms of local bands is till the garden so that they can grow.
Amanda Kilburn, the ensemble's tenor sax player, agrees that Harvest is an important opportunity.
It helps to keep us a figure within the city. I mean, we used to play the Edmonton Jazz Festival as well, and the Harvest Jazz and Blues Festival, playing in our own hometown, like in the city that we practice in, is important because you're exposing the band to like the residents of the city.
The ensemble's involvement with this year's festival is over, but Harvest continues until its finale this Sunday. For STU Journalism, I'm Tom Hennifer.
And behind the scenes of the festival are hundreds of volunteers. Megan Scott explains just how important they are.
Fredericton is gearing up for the 17th annual Harvest Jazz and Blues Festival. 2007 marks the Year of the Volunteer, which celebrates the more than 500 volunteers that help make the festival a reality. Alicia Morehouse is the festival's director of volunteers.
This year we're taking a special initiative to try to recognize and reward volunteers for all their hard work. After all, this festival is based almost wholly on volunteers, everyone from the board right down to the people who take your tickets, to security. Everyone is a volunteer, and we really want to make sure that they get recognized like they should.
Harvest volunteer Kevin Dara says planning for the festival is a year-long process.
Well, the festival ends in September, and we pretty much start in December for the following year, meeting once a month, and then we start up quite severely come May.
Duties of volunteers can include anything from setting up tents to picking up trash to unloading the beer trucks. Festival Chair Kevin Cormier says the volunteers are at the heart of the event.
I would say volunteers who are extraordinarily committed, and that sort of sparks enthusiasm in other potential volunteers, and it just continues to grow to the point now where we have over 500 volunteers, and I think everybody takes a piece and ownership of the festival, and that's really what makes it really special.
This year's Harvest Jazz and Blues Festival is rumored to be the best in its 17-year history, all thanks to the hard work and dedication of hundreds of committed volunteers. Those wishing to volunteer for Harvest can visit the festival's website to sign up. For STU Journalism, I'm Megan Scott.
New Brunswickers walked together to show support in the fight against AIDS. People of many different backgrounds came together for the AIDS Walk to raise funds and awareness for the global pandemic. Kyle Mullen has more.
Walking with your friends can help people suffering from HIV and AIDS. The 15th annual Fredericton AIDS Walk took place on Sunday, September 9th. The event began with great speeches by Kayla McCluskey and Ronia Shamalia, chair spokespersons of AIDS New Brunswick.
But by walking today, you're showing that you care about HIV and AIDS, and that this is something that you're not afraid of, and that we can stand in solidarity to help those who are infected with HIV and AIDS. Because like Ronia said, it's not often just the disease, but there's also the other factors with it.
We're raising money, and it will be going to AIDS New Brunswick as well as the Stephen Lewis Foundation, focusing in Zambia. And it's also about raising awareness, about getting the issue out there, and about uniting together against HIV and AIDS.
Part of the proceeds go to my country to help people living with AIDS there. So I feel like I'm supposed to be an ambassador for my country as well as help out people in New Brunswick raise awareness about AIDS and such issues.
This year, over 300 people participated in the walk, heading downtown from Stu campus. The event wrapped up in Officer Square, where everybody enjoyed a barbecue and live music after the walk.
All of our res is coming, and I've known some people who've had it, so it's a good thing to come support.
Sometimes I fear often that when you think about AIDS, especially nowadays, the focus is often on Africa, and I do believe that AIDS in Africa is a very important initiative, but at the same time I hope that it raises a lot of awareness about AIDS here in New Brunswick, and in Canada, and more specifically New Brunswick.
The event raised $5,730 in total, but more importantly, it raised awareness and brought the community together to march against this epidemic. For Stu Journalism, this is Ayaka, Hanazono, and Kyle Mullen.
Thanks, Kyle. Stay tuned for more stories on campus security.